I pressed record and then my brain went blank. There was not a thought going on behind my eyes. Let's dive right in because this review, as you can tell by the title, Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh, which is her most recent release or her most recent publication. The book was published in 2020. I want to say two. Indeed, 2022. So I have not introduced myself. My name is Alana. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And on this channel, we review books. Let's hop right in because Lapvona is interesting. I liked it, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and get that out there. I enjoyed it. But this book is twisted. A more discerning group of people might have questioned this, but nobody questioned anything. There was no mob, no uprising. This book is a little difficult to describe when it comes to the synopsis because it's easy to spoil. And I think that this is one of those books, it's best to go in as blind as possible because playa. This book is a wild ride. So Lapvona is a fable-like tale. Our main character, Merrick, is grotesquely, that's the word, grotesquely deformed. He is the son of the village shepherd, and he is swept into this eerie year. So this story takes place over a year, and Ottessa Moshfegh separates everything by season. Because after he's involved in this unfortunate event, and this event completely changes the course of his life. It doesn't just change the course of his life, but other characters' lives as well. In this story, there is thus a tale of murder, famine, religious overreach / control, and supernatural forces that weave together to tell a dark tale of corruption and control. That's how I'm gonna leave this synopsis because anything else is saying too much. Hold on. One of my coworkers, she was like, "Oh my gosh, why don't you wear lipstick?" I said, "Girl, if I wore lipstick, I would look like I had lip injections, and I don't. I don't need that type of attention." Lapvona is run. Why did I say it like that? Lapvona. Oh, so funny. Side note, because you know how we do here. I ramble. So I have a friend born and raised in California. She's back in LA. She's lived in various places, but she's back in LA. And I told her I can do a mean Kim K impression, and she was like, "That should not be possible," but I can. And she was, "Should I do that now? The Kim K? Nah. Yeah, I got to do it. Let's do it this way." So, hi. Today we are totally reviewing Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh, and oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I hate it. She was like, "You shouldn't be able to do that." And it's like, well, you know. Can we stop making stupid people famous? The Kardashians should not be famous. Anyway, Lapvona is run by I guess you could call him the mayor, the governor, William, like William, like William, um, and his religious authority. So Lapvona is a religious community, but it's a very it's shallowly done. I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And so Moshfegh uses William, the leader. I have a hard time with that. The V and the D. Willem to William. There it is. William. And his religious right hand to show how poor leadership is really often due to poor character. Those in power are not often actually suited for the job that they have, and what they're doing behind the scenes is egregious. So they're often incompetent, and Moshfegh uses the word farce a lot throughout this novel to portray how those in authority in this story are playing a game. And of course, she's saying this to prove a point about our society as a whole. They are pretending to be qualified. I'm trying not to laugh. And they're pretending to care when really everything they're doing is for their own benefit. I thought my work phone was ringing and I was just saying, get thee behind me, Satan. No, ma'am. No, sir. I was trying hard not to chuckle because that is the story of government, in my opinion, especially at the high levels. I'm really talking about the high levels. Well, not even, but that is often the story of government. You got people running stuff who have no business running stuff, but okay. And people actually believe, then you have the population who actually believes these people care. They don't. They're self-seeking. Majority of them are self-seeking. William was so accustomed to being entertained that any drama, however real it was, seemed to him as on stage for his private amusement. He had been living in perpetual diversion for so long, he could only conceive that his demonstration within his home was a farce. The priest had no sympathy for such stupid people, and yet he didn't see the hypocrisy of his disdain, as he was stupid too. It did not occur to Merrick that William was to blame for the devastation of the land. It did not occur to him that William had forced the village to suffer this drought, stealing that was rightfully owned by nature for his own excess and pleasure. Everyone smiled and rejoined around him in an effort to mask their sins. The priest liked the farce. It was just his style. He had no knowledge of the Bible. He spoke no Latin, read only a little, understood nothing, and he walked around with the good book anyway to give the impression that he knew it all. I could go into a whole rant about how even in the Christian church, the Western church in particular, I'm talking about Christianity, who have no business being in a pulpit. And I'm like, you're embarrassing the rest of us. Like, you have no business being in a pulpit. You don't know beans. Are we reading the same book? Because that's not what my book says. And I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to get into like the state of the Western church. Not all. Yeah. Okay. Because it's just infuriating to me. I'm like, God can, never mind. I said I wasn't. That's a whole 1 hour podcast. The people of Lapvona also don't think outside the box. The population does not think outside the box. This sheep on the front of this cover has multiple meanings. The population they're sheep. They follow blindly, but also there's a religious element to it. You know, the flock, the good shepherd, right? It has so many. You could analyze the analogy in this. Is that a spider? Play it. Sorry. You could analyze the religious imagery in this book for days. But they don't think outside the box. They're an ignorant population. Also, if you look closely, the sheep here is tied at the ankles. Merrick's father is a shepherd, not a good one. And by that I mean he treats his sheep like his actual flock well, but the way that he treats people is horrible. There's a lot to unpack there. Also, sheep are not the smartest animals. Okay, they're not. They're not high on the totem pole when it comes to intelligence. They're adorable. Like, I think sheep are hilarious, but they're not the smartest. And they're easy to herd. They are more likely to go with the flow rather than to push back and test authority. They don't have the stubbornness of, say, goats, right? Also, those testing structures and authority forces you to leave the herd, and that's uncomfortable. That's lonely. They don't want to do that. So they go with the flow, they put their head down, and they feign ignorance. And some of them are just willfully ignorant. They're blissfully ignorant. Grigor alone questioned the rations delivered back in August. Where did they come from? Oh, God has blessed us, his neighbor exclaimed, too afraid to wonder. Why should I be a slave to fear if Jesus already saved me? Grigor asked. Bro, you better preach that sermon. I was about to... Where's my organ? His freedom was grating on them all. Finally, they told him to keep his freedom to himself, and he had agreed. That's one reason why people don't really understand what it means to truly be free. Your government doesn't really want you to be truly free because that means you don't need them. I'm going to leave that there. They didn't need to complicate their lives with analysis, although they were prone to do so because they were more intelligent than average. There are so many burns in this book. Ottessa Moshfegh just did the thing, okay? So with the population in Lapvona that doesn't want to test authority, they don't want to test its leadership, the leadership takes advantage of that. And it's making it easier for the leadership to be corrupt. The leadership here can take what they want and do whatever they want. They can manipulate and play games because the population is not going to ask any questions. He paid them to ransack the village anytime there was a rumor of dissent among the farmers. That was his primary function as the village priest, to listen to the confessions of the people down below and report any sagging dispositions or laziness to the man above. Terror and grief were good for morale. If you can get your population to fear them, you can control them. Because when a population is afraid, they're looking for answers and they're looking for who seems competent, even if that person who allegedly seems competent really has nefarious goals here. So, again, look at the past 4 years. Corona Lachey, the virus. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you are not willing to admit that governments took advantage of that, I don't know what to say to you, because they did. He knew the boy was lying, but he couldn't identify the lie. So he used his own lies to try to ease out the truth. These quotes are fire, man. He loved not the Christ, but himself, in the thrill of keeping people in line. So it is blatant, the Christian imagery, specifically Catholic, because they're talking about priests and whatever. So it's more Catholic imagery than, say, Protestant imagery. But either way, it's very blatant. And I think that you can interpret this from many different angles. You could say that Moshfegh is critiquing religion, or maybe she's just using religion as the vehicle. I don't even say that maybe for some people, Moshfegh is not saying that religion is necessarily bad, but it's easy to corrupt. Anything is easy to corrupt, to be honest, because humans are not perfect. And once humans get our nasty little paws on things, we're going to ruin it. We're going to deviate. And it's like, that's not, no, what are you doing? That's not how that's supposed to be. So again, and you can just use this framework that she used to critique government, to critique other systems. Anyone can take anything and use it to their advantage once they corrupt it and it's in the wrong hands. There are characters that follow the main religion of Lapvona. Some of them believe something else. Some of them believe in nothing. And so it's really, what's fascinating about this is that Moshfegh is using this to show what role does religion play, but ultimately at the more macro level, what role do belief systems play? Whatever it is that you choose to put your belief in. She was an atheist herself. She had once felt that there was a power in the way things happened, a kind of fatness that she depended on in order to life. They didn't care for Jesus. Flesh was mortal. God was not. God was not alive. God was life itself, and life was invisible. That was why Claude felt he had to make art to give proof of life. Claude knew as well as the other servants that William was a sinner, the priest a heretic, but a person should never judge someone else's faith. Nobody knows the truth. That's another belief system that you see some of these characters have. Survivors needed divine justice for such tragedy. Again, how Moshfegh is showing that people will gravitate towards certain belief systems to make sense of the world and say, well, if these things are happening, there's a reason. Perhaps it was most miraculous when God exacts justice, even when no human lifts a finger, or perhaps it's simply fate. Everything seems reasonable in hindsight. Right or wrong, you will think what you need to think so that you can get by. Again, it's just not just religion. You can add this at the macro level. What is the purpose, or what are the purposes of various belief systems? Again, whatever it is that you put your belief in, or whatever a person personally thinks is true. There is a lot of suffering in this novel. Like, like, this is a graphic novel. There is everything under the sun happens in this book. And there are characters who get away with some shady stuff as well because they're doing horrible things to other people. And so this question is asked, why does God allow suffering? How was it logical that the bandits could pillage Lapvona near last Easter while the Lord, that's lowercase l, William, sat in his manor with all his riches? Why would God allow anyone to steal from the poor? Losing another child would be too much for any of them to bear. A lot of open-ended questions here, but questions I think everybody asks. I'm just going to leave that quote there from marination. Sometimes if you get it, you get it. I don't always need to like go into, if you caught it, you caught it. Okay? So this is an eerie, mystical, bizarre, and fable-like story, as I said. It's difficult to pin down. There is something cryptic about Lapvona. And it's a story, I think, that takes multiple reads, and you're still going to have questions. You're still not going to be able to piece every single thing together. And I think that's the point. It's one of those stories that when you finish the novel, you might be asking more questions than when you started it. It's very well written and very well structured. Moshfegh, it's written in the third person, but she effortlessly weaves the characters' stories and perspectives together so that when you're transitioning between various characters, you almost don't even realize that it's happening. And it's so smooth and seamless. I mean, props to her as the author to have the skill to do that, but also props to the editors. In typical Moshfegh fashion, Lapvona is dark and twisted. She's known for being a very edgy author, that she'll make you kind of, However, there is actually an elegance in the way that Lapvona is told. I mean, it's written, and I attribute that again to the writing style. It's not as, let me backtrack. Overall, Moshfegh is a very, very direct author. She's very blunt. You can see that in My Year of Rest and Relaxation. But there is something a little bit more descriptive in Lapvona, a little bit more whimsical, perhaps, in the way that it's written. And that just makes it feel more fable-like. And again, props to her for her to be able to make those subtle tweaks in her writing to make sure that the story that she's telling gets told properly. The writing style in My Year of Rest and Relaxation would not fit this, and vice versa. This is only my second Lapvona novel. This is only my second Ottessa Moshfegh novel. It will not be my last. I do plan on overall going back at some point in time and reading her other novels that were published before Lapvona and My Year of Rest and Relaxation, but I'm not in any rush to do so. I'll get to them when I get to them. But I have an appreciation for Moshfegh. Is she my favorite contemporary author? No. But I appreciate it for what it is. I appreciate her writing for what it is. And I think she really showed her skill in this one. I'm going to leave that there. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. I look forward to rereading this at some point. Have you read Lapvona? What did you think of it? I know this book is like Marmite for some people, and I can see why. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and also feel free to follow me on Instagram where I get up to more book shenanigans. Also, recently I've just been getting up to shenanigans in my stories by posting goofy things that have nothing to do with books because I can. But please feel free to follow me there. My book reviews go live there first. And with that, I will see you in the next one.